usually the feedback is, but
Sure.
I don't want to force guests to have to do specific times.
Okay.
So we're still figuring it all out.
We're live.
Okay, we're live. We are live. All right, buddy. So yeah, so this is again, it's a normal podcast, like recording, like we did before, but it's also adding on a video and a streaming element. So just always
Sure.
trying to keep things
We only have
interesting.
3.5 years of experience working in this together.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, let's just get started. Recording is on, so let's get started. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Shlomo. I know it's a pleasure to have you on. We were co-hosts together in China Business Cast. You said 3.5 years. Wow, time flies.
Indeed.
And
Yes.
we many years before that in the startup community in Beijing and China and blogging and content creating and community. So you're currently in Israel, right?
I'm currently in Israel. Indeed. Yes. Yes.
And and working on Free Financial Self, which is I know it's been a big passion for you even when I first knew you. You know, helping um, even with our podcast, our projects we did. You were always the one that kind of helped keep the organization of the finances and the strategy, and that's what you're doing now. So it's really great. Do you mind adding to that or putting a little bit more of what you're up to, Shlomo? Thanks again for coming on the show.
Sure. It's actually amazing being here and again, kind of co-hosting with you. So thank you so much for inviting. I
Yeah.
really so a bit about what you said of what I do. So indeed, um, personal finance, investment, and travel been a passion of mine since I was a very small child. And Free Financial Safe Self uh, brings in all those things. What I want to do is help people who work remotely to organize their money so they can reach financial freedom faster. That's basically the idea. Um,
Awesome.
I, I've been, let's say, investing and working on my finances as an adult for the past 15 or 16 years. Be learning and failing like everybody else.
Yes.
But what was important for me is not money for the sake of making money, which sounds a bit odd, I'm sure, but more of aligning it with the perfect lifestyle that I want for myself and my family. And I'm happy to say that nowadays we do live that lifestyle. We go on workations every year or even twice a year sometimes for a few months. So we're location independent. We homeschool our daughter, so everything is very flexible. And this is what fit us. And basically, this is what I'm teaching others to do the same through their finances.
Great. Yeah, it's very important. Totally important. And it's year end, so it's even more important. I think, we're at the end of 2020. I think a lot of us are happy to have an end of this year. It's been a very different year, probably for most of us. And we should plan, right? Planning is important. I think everybody does this at the end of the year, thinking about the new year, projects,
Yep.
businesses, their personal and finance, right? So it's a very important thing to do, and perfect timing for you to come on and share with us.
It's the highlight of the year, thinking about your New Year's resolutions and finances. So you're closing one year and opening another one, and hopefully for everybody, a much better one than it used to be. Although maybe an
Good.
online space, I might be wrong, and people who are listening now saying, I killed it on 2020 because
True.
everybody stayed home and bought stuff. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
and generally
There's
speaking, to the rest of the world, it's been hard.
there have been some that people don't, I think a lot of times people don't like to show off, but I have heard from others and seen it in Amazon, and selling online. Of course, you have to be in the right category, but if you're selling in the right category right now online, yeah, you're probably having one of your better years ever, for sure. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it. I know we've been preparing for the show for a while and talking back and forth. I think, the listeners, the people you've come to our events and, you've been a community. So they're a little bit more on the product business side or the trading side. So maybe we
Yep.
can keep that in mind. But I think this is general help for any entrepreneur, business owner, in this in the space. So, what would maybe we can give them some tactics, some ideas.
Hmm.
Start with what do we open up a new Excel spreadsheet? Of course, there's softwares. I mean, what should somebody be doing now? It's coming to the end of the year.
Sure. I'll give. I have a giveaway at the end, and then for to help with that, but we'll mention it later. That can help with the things that you mentioned. However, let's maybe talk about things that are, the common issues that people have when dealing with their finances. And what I see from people, my clients, my audience, is that they're putting their all their eggs in one basket. And specifically for business owners and entrepreneurs, their business is so important for them. And I totally get that as a business owner myself. However, you need to treat your business as another investment. There is a return that you expect to get from that investment, and that's supposed to support the life that you want for yourself. So I encourage people to look at uh, a broader a broader way of their life and their business. You have one investment, very important one, which is your business, but you have your life and your, let's say, your personal money should also be invested and work for you at the same time. And the bottom line is, I don't think that all your money and investment should go only in the business. I think it's too risky. Of course, there are exceptions, and you need to look to every case by case. But basically, think of it on a broader way of your business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Separating business and personal. Like, I think one tactic,
That's
or it sounds obvious, but I think you probably would say pay yourself first, or budget your living, your salary, your payment. Pay. I think that's probably what you would say, right? That's probably the first step is take how much you're going to make out of this business. Was that maybe a good step to separating yourself?
it's definitely a good step to separate. I So when you ask that, I didn't think about the actual technicalities. Goes without saying, you should separate that, um, and understand how much you get from your business. What's the return that you got from that, and uh, how does that support what you do? So when you separate this, you are able to. It's much easier to do that. I do every month,
Monthly. Okay.
calculating monthly, calculating my net worth to see where I'm heading with my finances in life. So I can start seeing now, doing it for 3, 4 years now. I spot trends of seeing what's working, what's not working. So that business is building up your net worth, or not building up your net worth, which is not good, of course. But when you're doing it month by month by month, you get that trend and see, am I doing this things right, or do I need to change things for the future? And starting in the new years, of course, wonderful time to do that. You can sum up your whole year and see what happened and what you should change.
Yeah. So I think the next question probably is how many months should you budget? I guess it depends on your risk tolerance, but probably at least have a half a year of costs to be covered. I think it's Bill Gates that says he likes to keep a year and a half of salaries up in the
Yeah,
bank.
opinions vary between 3 months to a year. I didn't know about what you said about 18 months, but that makes sense. So it's really the risk uh, the risk tolerance there. But it's also a matter of understanding how much you're flexible with your expenses and where you live. Let's say that you're now living in an expensive country and you can hop on to a. You said many people are in Asia, so this already might happening. They live on a lower budget, and that works for them. And maybe they can optimize their expenses even more, or I don't know if they hold an apartment somewhere, somehow remotely Airbnb it or something like that. So you can always play with these things to improve the stableness of your life, basically, of your finances.
Yep. Yep. Um, it sounds good. So hopefully, so I guess a couple of action points just to keep, tactics. It sounds
Yeah.
obvious, but I'll be honest. I bet you. I know I talked to some people. We don't do this, but how much do you need per month personally? If you're going to pay yourself in the business, put that on a budget, and then how much you need to pay to keep your business operating. Like what's I think it's a slang word is what's your nut. I learned it from some like New York business movie
Mike, do
maybe,
people
but
know do
what's
people
your
know
monthly
how much
cost, your
they
fixed cost?
exactly? But
Yeah.
do people know how much return they get on their e-commerce business? Is this a common thing?
Uh, I think people look at there's some softwares that automatically pull in your data from Amazon, and then
Yep.
it gives you an idea of your I think one common number is return on advertising, ROAS, advertising
Mm-hmm.
spend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ROAS, I think, ROAS, and sort of how much you're spending on ads and how much you're selling. It's a cost of return on advertising. But a
Yes.
lot of times we just do these back of the back of the envelopes where we spent about this much and we had this much in our bank account now. I think I'll speak for others. A lot of people are that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand. Yeah. So again, going back to see it as an investment, see how much you can get back from it. 10%, 20% a year, 40% a year, 200% a year. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't have an e-commerce business, but this is another way to look at it. At the end of the day, uh, what we all want and what I teach is being able to control your numbers and then take your money to the next level. It
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is some targets, or what do you think somebody should look at? I mean, as a target.
Targets. Let's think about it. So I think that people should, as I mentioned, should go and understand what their net worth is and do this uh, monthly or the minimum every 3 months to figure out what the trend is. Okay, how much you are worth. That's really, really important. Um, then going for um, thinking long term about your plans. Yes, you have your business now. This is what you do, but does that support what uh, the lifestyle that you want for yourself on the longer term? Okay. Um, so do you want to retire in Thailand? Do you want to go to Manhattan? This is something, and that will obviously influence your business. Okay, you might not making enough, or you're making more than enough, and that's okay. So you need to balance these. I think these things are very, very important, and and can really make it very clear also for your business of where you want and need it to be. Does that make sense?
Mm, yeah, that's that's helpful. And then
And it's funny that
yeah, go ahead.
I wrote my note for the show, and you mentioned separating the finances. And I wrote on the notes for the next tactic, so you know where your personal and business money is going, controlling your numbers. So this is exactly what you're saying: categorizing it, understand what are the needs and what wants personally, and in terms of the business, what's really essential. So this is the needs and what is kind of nice to have.
Mm-hmm. All right. Um, and then probably like what's typical a year plan? What do you usually suggest for
So
forecasting or planning?
so with the business it's more of a short term planning. So maybe it will be 1 to 2 years, especially with e-commerce. But with life planning, I would say very, very long term as much as possible, because that will make a difference, on a huge difference on your finances. The more you anticipate, you basically save and make much more money on the longer term because of the compounding effect. So the more time you have, the better. So if you plan only for 3, 4 years ahead, then you can make only some kind of investments, which is a shame. But if you'd say, I have a goal 10, 15 years from now, even more, you can take advantage of so many other options that make you so much more money. So in my opinion, this is this is really essential.
All right. Um, we'll get to investments later, I think is, but I would like to talk about what kind of investments you mean or common or typical.
Sure.
But let's maybe stick on the planning stage for now. So we're like, yeah, separate personal business, calculate your net worth, uh, figure out your monthly costs, make
Yes.
so for a business side, 1 to 2 years, like personal as long as possible, and this would probably be on a monthly basis. Like, everybody likes
Now
to know software. Everybody likes to know software. There's Xero, there's QuickBooks. I mean, of course, there's Google Sheets,
I use
especially
Google
for Amazon
Sheets.
sellers.
I actually
Oh,
use
you do
Google
Google Sheets?
Sheets. I do Google
Oh,
Sheets.
wow.
It works the best. You know what's the reason, and that might be a problem for people here too, is that a lot of my so I have accounts in many places. So if you're US based, yes, it's very easy. You can automate, I think, almost everything. But if you're not, so if you have accounts in several countries, several currencies, that makes things a lot harder. And I've been looking for a few years now for a tool that makes that. And here and there are tools that claim to do it, but of course they can't support or they don't support. They say they support. We support the 30,000 financial institution. Great, but my financial institution is not there, and then I need to find a solution right there. So if you have the more common one, great. If you have the less common one, or if you're from let's say, a smaller country like me from Israel, then the solution might not be out there, and you need to do everything manually. So Google Spreadsheet is my best friend for now.
Nice. Okay. And um, I don't want to put, there's probably templates or formulas and systems in there. Maybe you work with your clients on it, or I don't know
Yes,
what you're willing to share on
yes.
that, but yeah, you could
I'm
probably
happy
have
to share.
multiple tabs. Oh, you really? Okay.
So part of the roadmap that I work with clients and teach people, one step out of that is called control your numbers. And on that step, I teach people how to, again, calculate their net worth. There are a few ways to do it. So some people prefer to do it on another way than like in one way than another. But basically, I teach them this. Then I teach them how to calculate their cash flow and categorize their expenses, and then seeing in there what are I just spoke about it, the needs and wants. What are the things that you really need? What are the things that you want? And then maybe eliminate them. You can do the same thing for your business. The net worth just for your business. It's the net worth of your business. It's the cash flow of your business. What are the needs and wants? And you basically can create a let's say a plan just for your business. I encourage people to do it also for their life and kind of have this mini plan for the business inside their life plan, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
you can also do it just for your business. I'll share at the end. I have a spreadsheet, a Google tool that I made to calculate how much net worth. It's really easy to use, and I'm happy to share this with the audience.
Wow, that'd be amazing. Thanks so much, Shlomo. All right, let's keep moving. So then Google Sheets, which is awesome because obviously that's free too. But I mean, I know Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers, it's a little bit harder because we have the high frequency, small amount B2C sales. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we could use both. I mean, there's also maybe your personal spreadsheet, and then of course your business spreadsheet. A
Yes.
more there's a more detailed sheet, maybe which is much more.
Lost you there? Are we out? Hey guys, I don't know if I'm live or not. Uh, internet connection. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm sorry. Let me try to make this happen. I'm moving to my data plan.
It seems like, sorry, my net cut out. uh, Shlomo, are you still there?
This is part of working
Okay,
online.
here.
Hey,
Yeah, it was I think it was my fault, but we're back. We're
okay,
back. It wasn't that
I
big a
moved
deal. All right,
I
we
moved to
didn't.
my data plan, and I hope that there won't be any problems now because I wasn't sure if my side or your side. Never mind. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, this is a challenge with online, but we did it. Just a small interruption. So I'll start from the beginning of my
Keep going on this.
question.
Yes. Go ahead.
My question was, is round numbers here for the forecasting? I mean, there's probably different spreadsheets. There's actual and forecast, but we're talking about making a forecast, right? So we're looking maybe at the past numbers, making around, zero, just zeros here, right? We're not like getting exact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can do that. Um, the thing is this, the main thing that you want to learn is what's the return on your investment. And yeah, you said the return on advertising, but basically, what's the return of your business?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can keep, compounding it and recalculating it and make a forecast, assuming things are as good or even better than as they used to be. But until you don't know that number, it's really hard to make a forecast. So you need to have some kind of data. If you're just starting out, you have to guesstimate, but it's not as accurate, of course.
Yep. Well, sure. So we should look at our trailing data, right? So try to get some averages from our previous year, 2 year, and then extrapolate that into the future.
Exactly,
Uh,
exactly. And you can extrapolate it with if, once you know the return, you can basically do that, and then you can decide, okay, I am putting this money back into the business, or I am diversifying and putting it in other investments, or taking it home and then invest it as a personal investment. It really depends. This is what I spoke at the beginning of. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think there should be a few baskets because um, business works, it grows, but it can also things change, and you want to mitigate those risks.
mm-hmm. Which goes to the next point, right? I mean, I also just I'm finally making a new video vlog, and I called it like my own personal plans for 2021. But I talk about the Mike Tyson quote. We've heard that in startup world, right? Like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Like, I mean, definitely 2020 was I got knocked. Mike Tyson punched me in the face. Like everybody had plans. Those
Yes.
obviously it was a very special circumstances year, but we do need to make plans. But then, how do you really predict the future? I guess we have forecasts. We take percentages. We think it's going to increase over time. So we put a higher increase in our sales. Like, what would you suggest as some strategies for forecasting?
So I'll give you an example of what happened to us.
Perfect. Yeah,
I think
I
I
think
think
that's great.
it represents it the best. Um, so we diversify over a few types of investments. We don't have the eggs in one basket. And when COVID-19 hit around mid-March, markets started going down and down and down and down and down. And you see the money vanishing. It's like, okay. Um, was I worried? To be completely frank, no, I was not worried. And the reason is because I know how the markets are doing long term. I can't say it was fun seeing the numbers going down. Okay, let's separate those two things. But it wasn't that I'm
Mm.
selling like crazy and like going, I don't know what to do. I can't sleep at night. The most important thing is that you want to sleep good at night. Now I know of other people that told me I can see those numbers going down. They sold their portfolio and 3 weeks later everything started going up and we're basically back up and even better than the
Above. Yeah,
year
it's
start.
above.
Okay.
Yeah.
um so to some extent you need to trust the it's funny to say this, to trust the market and trust the statistics and things that happened will keep going. It doesn't guarantee that this is what will happen, but there's some likeliness, even a high likeliness that this will happen. Um, so how do you mitigate this? Uh, you still need to look at long term. You have to look at long term and trust this, because if not, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. And going back to putting the money in the business and then you get a punch in the face, I agree. If this is the only thing where your money is and sales went to zero, yes, you're in trouble. You should have um, got ready in advance for situations like this, with other investments, with other emergency funds, um, maybe part-time regular job. Maybe you have a spouse and she's working something. Okay, uh, going all in is good when it's working. It's a disaster when it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, risk reward and um, diversification, but also like I think what I'm thinking about summarizing is investing. You have to think long term, and there's going to be the downs and there's going to be the ups. But yeah, I mean, I still remember the March. I was it was like, I did feel like the world was ending in March, at least for me. Mid March, I mean, personally and business was insane. Like Amazon is
Mhm.
shut down, receiving inbound shipments for non-essential items. We were all, I mean, people were just thinking to, give up. Or I mean, some categories are totally crushed, like travel
Yes.
products.
Hmm.
Like summer things. Like going outside. It's similar to travel, but like summer kind of
Outdoor,
products, outdoor. I mean, these kind of categories got crushed. I mean, um,
for sure.
and I know some of these people. So
Mike, what about
uh,
diversifying in between categories? It's not foolproof in this case because everybody were hit, or almost everybody. But maybe that's something to do in a business. Yes, I'm in outdoor, but I also do medical equipment.
yeah, I mean, it's pre-COVID. It wasn't really something most people would say to do because unless you're a big seller, because it's about focus, right? And you got to know
Yeah,
your product, you got to know your market. It's kind of a lot of time and investments. So maybe in a post-COVID world, so maybe there will be that idea of diversifying categories, but at least
that will
pre-COVID,
be
we all
interesting to see.
said to really focus on one niche, because that's your advantage. You get to
That's your
know this.
expertise. Yes, yes.
That's how you can make value.
I would still put something on the back burner, either as a business, diversify among categories, or have some kind of other investments
Well, yeah,
or
like
a side job that I can rely on if things go
like
south.
another cat. What I've kind of been saying a little bit is try to also have podcasts or info products or services on top of your product. We're I mean, I think you also like Gary Vee or the whole idea of media and commerce. Like I've said this a few times in the shows, but you're selling a product, but you're also a brand which is selling experience. So you could teach people in that category, online training or blogging. You could make a books you could also do services in the category. You could diversify in that way instead of going to multiple categories. But it might
Yeah.
almost be easier for most Amazon sellers to just do another category, because to do a service or a information product is another type of mindset as
Right.
well. But that's another
Right.
way people could think about it. And I've seen really good sellers, they build out a true website and a true brand. We say that too also in this podcast, is we're trying to build true brands, not just Amazon brands.
Hmm.
And that could be another way to diversify
It's
as
risky
well.
from Amazon to build to only trust them, because then they eat you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're getting here. Let's maybe move towards the investments. So, I'll be honest, I think you know me too. I usually double down on my business and my projects. I'm always investing in business. I
Hmm.
But I would like to hear some of your other strategies when you said earlier in the podcast, investing.
Yeah.
What do you think are some good ways for entrepreneur business owners to invest? Invest.
So, um, people thinking about investment of, I want my money to work for me. And when you're saying for me, what it is that is for you, what it is that you want. And I'm going back to the long-term planning, and I'll speak about the specific investments in a minute. But you want your investments to support your long-term life plans. That's the most important thing. We want to align the finances and investments with your future desired lifestyle. Okay?
Mm,
This is how we get the most control and clarity of where we're at, where we're going, and where we want to get at the end. What's our goal?
okay.
So I'll give a few examples. If I have little kids and I know that I want to help them with college in 20 years or 18 years, and I'm thinking about this and like, oh, okay, I can just, it's not urgent. I still have 18 more years. They were just born. But instead of that, and then, 3 years, 2 years before college, like, oh my God, I need whatever crazy amount of money you need for college. And then you get into loans, and basically you don't know how to deal with that. But if you start very early, you know in advance how much you can estimate how much money you need with this inflation and everything. But you can double down on investments that make higher returns long term. Let's say the American stock market, S&P, between 7 to 10% a year, depends how you count. Inflation, non-inflation, but you can uh, you can get ready for that and make a lot of money going towards your uh, future goal of that. So you take that money every month or every 6 months or every year and save and invest that. And you know that this is for the bucket of college for your kids. Okay, that's a thinking, a way to think about this. Um, but there are other ways to think about investments. Let's say that I want to have um, a trip with my family every year. Okay, and I want to do this for the next 15 years because it's really important for me. It's part of who we are. We travel a lot, and it's an expensive trip. It's an expense. Okay. However, now my strategy here for, you know, let's say that you're going for trips in 10, 15 years and you already try to save for them now, is that the returns will be very nice, but they can be even better with other types of investment. Think about crowd investing. Think about investing in other websites. Think about P2Ps, all these kind of things that you can diversify to.
Mm,
However, they are riskier, of course, right? But the goal is not that important. Meaning, if I don't have money for my child's college, that's a bad thing, assuming they want to go to college. But if you won't make a trip 1 year because the investment went down, okay, but you still are able to get, you still able to enjoy a higher return over the years with a higher risk to that goal. So these are the kind of thing you can think about when you plan. Um, yes, you can go and put your money in different investments and just let it go. But if you think about your life goals and future expenses, that makes much more sense and much easier. As example, I know that we supposed to change our car in about 2 years. So I found a um, crypto-backed platform called
Oh,
Nexo, and they pay
okay.
8% over the money that I put in there. Did I put a lot of
Nice.
money there? No,
Cool.
but I put enough money so in 2 years I'll have enough to buy that car, and I'm making money for that. I already put this in advance. Okay, now it's not foolproof because that platform might go bust. I don't know why. They seem pretty stable now, from
Yeah,
what
I
I
can't
checked, from
think
all
of
the due
it.
diligence I made. But it's not the only investment that I have. And it's a portion of what I need. And even if I'm not going to buy a car in 2 years because I won't have the money, so in 3 years I can do this. Okay, so there is a way to play with this deadline. Okay, but
Okay.
this is an example of aligning your future expense to what you need to do today to make it happen and also make money along the way, instead of I don't want to think in 2 years, oh, now need to buy a car and put the whole all money in advance. Now I'm making money along the way, and plan for this.
All
Does
right.
all of that make sense?
Makes sense. It makes sense. I like it, man. I like sharing some of those strategies, and yeah, I mean, it's about. I think what you're saying is you're also diversifying, and you're even thinking. You even mentioned they might go bust. They might disappear. I might lose. Of course, you don't want that to happen, but that exchange might go bankrupt. Like I was literally talking to a friend just before this podcast about MT Gox. And I met somebody at Starbucks, and when MT Gox was around, I don't know if you know that exchange. It's a
No.
bankrupt exchange. They were one of the first exchanges for crypto, for Bitcoin,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they again, I haven't followed it lately, but they basically disappeared or they went bankrupt, or if you had money in it, you lost it. They went bankrupt for whatever reason,
Hmm.
and that person we saw in Starbucks every day trading on MT Gox, he stopped showing up when that happened. We wanted to ask him, and I feel really bad because I can't imagine he probably had most of his money in there. So
Wow. Wow.
I that's also the lesson for crypto is you don't keep all your money on the exchange. You could take it out to a cold wallet, and take it out.
Listen, I have
But
other examples.
yeah,
People.
go ahead, please.
So crowd investing. I invested in a few crowd investing platforms, and as much due diligence that I've done over these platforms, 2 out of the 4 that I invested in were a scam. That was very sad to lose that money, and now we're suing them, and yes, it makes progress. But I lost there. Did that change my lifestyle? Did that influence my life so much? No, it didn't. It was sad losing it. I hope I'll get that money back. But that was thinking, okay, I'm feeling okay putting that much money in there, and take that risk for the high return. But it's not the only thing that I invest in.
Yeah, I think that's the main point is it's diversification. Whether it's your categories in Amazon or your investments in different alternative investing, which has a higher ROI, right? You can make a heck of a lot more money than putting it in like a money market savings account in a bank, which might even go negative. I don't know. I don't even know if
Yeah, it's
negative will
crazy.
ever happen, but they
It
seems like
happens in
that's even
Europe.
a
Yeah, it happens in Europe. If you're investing in Europe, this is what you get.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But if you want to go to the more traditional things, then you go to Western stock markets, like especially the U.S., and you're thinking long term. It's very likely that you get the returns that are there on the data that is out there and the statistics. But this goes specifically with this one. It's only if you're really going long term, like the example I gave about college, a down payment for a house in 10 years, things like that. If you're going
Mm,
to shorter ones, yes, you'll have to go through the cycle. And if you need the money when the cycle is down, that's a problem.
yep. Speaking about it, another one is I'm invested in HSBC insurance, and I can't, if I take out the insurance, I'll lose like most of the premium. You're kind of locked in long term, and even if you cancel it and want the money, it takes 60 days to get the check in the mail.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, there's
What are
definitely
the
less.
returns they're saying they get?
I mean, it's not really a return. It's more like a whole life insurance.
Okay, it's a life insurance. So it's
Yeah,
it's a,
life
it's a
insurance.
different product for catastrophe that you have in your life, but it's not that you're
Yeah,
getting the returns. This is another way of diversifying yourself. I mean, if your family will need you uh, if you're gone, God forbid, then this is something that you will need. But 60 days kind of sound, they will need that money. So something to look into there.
well, no. I mean, if I want to cancel it and get my
Oh,
premium,
oh, 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 I get it.
if I want to cancel it and then get the money out, it takes 60 days.
So there's still some
Um,
savings component into this. Got it.
yeah. All right, Shlomo, we're getting, it's been a great conversation. I think we should start to wrap up, but I would love to learn more, maybe share what you're working on and how you can help some listeners.
A lot has been going on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So So I basically had one program which I'm running with the name Free Financial Self program, but it became, instead of a 3 months program, I now have a 3 day program, 3 months program, and a yearly program. So it
Okay.
really, fits for different people at different stages of where they are.
Yeah.
Um, and just now, and it's the first time I'm saying it publicly, I'm opening an online group financial coaching for
Okay.
people who wants to get it to the next level. It's a monthly call with a group support
Nice.
where people
I think
can
that's
ask
great.
questions and basically make progress with their finances. They of course do the work at home, but they at least have some guidance and have somebody to work with on an ongoing basis. So these
Okay.
are a few things that's happening right now. And the last
Okay.
thing is that I'm writing a book, which is
Oh,
supposed to
congrats.
come out in the summer, I hope.
Great.
So yep, that's another thing. So yeah, a lot is going
Listen,
on.
I'm a sucker. I buy almost all the books of my friends and guests and stuff. So definitely. Uh,
Let you know when it's going pre-sale.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Um, and then of course we can link on the show notes to these different things. But what's the best way for people to find you or connect with you?
So first of all, I want to mention the giveaway that I mentioned before,
Yeah, yeah. You
and
said
this is to know how much you are worth. It's really so important to do that periodically, every quarter or preferably every month. So go to freefinancialself.com/GFAM. So that's global from Asia. M is for Mike. Um,
okay.
and uh,
GFAM.
and
Okay.
go. That's especially for the listeners. Go there and download that one. I I just got a message from my VA saying that we have some kind of a problem with the server. So maybe just hold on a little bit with this.
Okay.
And you put it in the show notes. I apologize about this,
No
but
problem.
we'll have it online today.
Okay.
And more information is freefinancialself.com, and I'm on every social media channel you can think of. LinkedIn is my name, Free Financial Self page on Facebook, and also my name. Instagram, Free Financial Self, and last one is Twitter, Free Financial SF because
All right.
too many characters.
Awesome. Okay. And I'm checking the page. I don't think there's an M, at least right now, but we'll put the
Oh,
right. It's just GFA for me. Just testing it
okay.
now.
So the GFA
Which one?
works. Okay. You're faster than me. I can't chat with my VA right now.
Oh,
Let's do the
no
GFA.
problem. No
Great.
problem. Okay. Well, thanks, Shlomo. I'm really happy, and it's awesome to have you on the show sharing. So, and then
Great being here.
I hope people take you up on this offer. I mean, it's amazing. You always help me and others, and I know this is. I'm really happy to see you doing what you love to do. So it's great.
Thank you very much. Great being here.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting. Cheers.
Cheers. All right.